Alrighty, guys. Aaron Feely going to throw. That pass is batted up into the air. It's picked off. That'll be fielded at the 14. Returned out past the 25. He's going to get out past the 30, past the 40. Knocked out of bounds at about midfield. He's rolling to his right. He's going to throw it. He will, and it's caught inside the 5, down toward the goal line, and in for the touchdown. Alrighty, guys, first edition of Top 10 Tuesdays, where we release a weekly Top 10 list here on the channel, and we're kicking it off with a big one. Hot topic across NFL fans and social media ever since the Super Bowl has been Jalen Hurts and the overall hierarchy of where he and really every quarterback ranks when compared as individuals playing the most spotlighted position in all of sports. Full disclosure, there will not be an appearance from Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, or Drake May anywhere on this list. History is just too chock full of examples of rookie seasons that end up being complete flips of the young QB's career as a whole, and despite how well really all 4 of them played last year, with only 1 season under their belts, I'm not willing to put any names on this list just yet until there's a little more wind behind their wings. With that in mind, where does the reigning Super Bowl MVP rank? Does he even make the list? Keep watching and find out as we dive right into it. These are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL in 2025. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Nobody is, though. I don't really like it any more than any of you. I went to school for 8 years and got my doctorate from Haters University with a major in really hating the Dallas Cowboys. Not quite as much as Green Bay or even the Lions and Vikings, but still hating them quite a bit, and also a minor in communications. Despite this, though, Prescott has unfortunately proven himself year after year to be consistently in the conversation among the league's upper third at his position, being just 1 year removed from his second-place finish in the 2023 MVP voting before his season was ended prematurely this year due to an injury. His biggest knock to this point would be those 2 lost seasons due to those injuries, once, of course, last year and in 2020, and the running gag about his Cowboys having yet to make it past the divisional round of the playoffs, and these knocks certainly cost him a few spots in the rankings. But considering how few quarterbacks in the league today have gotten their team over that hump and played as decently as he has in the postseason individually, he still finds a way onto this list, thanks in large part to his career 213 to 82 touchdown interception ratio, and his accuracy throwing downfield being one of the better tight window passers in the league for a guy often given crap for being a bit interception prone. He actually does a pretty decent job outside of 1 year in 2022 taking care of the football. As much as most of us don't want to admit it, there aren't more than 10 passers in the league better than the divisional round gatekeeper in 2025. Number 9, Jared Goff. No, seriously, hold on. Hear me out. I know many, especially some more modern era fans, may look at Jared Goff as some system QB benefiting from having 2 Hall of Fame offensive minds, but here's the thing. If you were to ask most offensive coaches in the league, the offense can only really be made as complex as your trigger man can mentally grasp, and Jared Goff has proven to be one of the smartest QBs in the league for many years now. Goff is the ultimate version in the active league of what I like to call the I just throw to the open guy style passer. For whatever reason, this style of intelligent quarterback play by lesser athletes playing the position has kind of fallen out of favor with modern fans. But believe me, it has not fallen out of favor of the coaches in the NFL, and Jared Goff has been a tremendous finder of open guys under McVay and Ben Johnson since 2017 in that second year of his. 2019 being arguably his only below-average season, even though it feels like people claim that he has these types of years all the time. He gets a lot of grief for not making more eye-popping plays, and of course his occasional tendency to go a little noodle arm in playoff games, which does keep him from going higher on this list. But the idea that Jared Goff is some product of his surroundings and brings nothing to the table himself as a QB is a bit preposterous. I've never really bought into it, and it kind of needs to die off. Jared Goff is one of the league's top 10 quarterbacks, whether anybody likes it or not, and on my list, he slots in at number 9. Number 8, Baker Mayfield. Cleveland fans can turn off the video now. Nothing in this entry or a couple upcoming entries is going to make you even remotely less likely to give up football viewing as a hobby entirely and take up bird watching on a lovely fall afternoon instead, because to this day, this one still haunts the Browns fans who suffered for decades waiting for the day a QB would finally come over that mountain and save the desolate franchise from the depths of despair that comes with years of bad football, mixed with your old team leaving town for Baltimore, becoming your division rival to your new team, and then winning 2 Super Bowls that could have been yours if they just didn't leave in the first place. And then one finally does in Baker Mayfield, who had a great rookie season in 2018, took the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, a year later, to the playoffs and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, your biggest division rival, in the wild card round, only to come up a Chad Henne short of an AFC title game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Cleveland Browns shipped that QB away to Carolina. They said, "No, Baker, you're not doing it. We're getting rid of you. We're trading away 3 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, 5 golden rings, and the rights to the Drew Carey Show so we can get Deshaun Watson here in Cleveland." And that has been going swimmingly. Meanwhile, all Baker Mayfield has been up to the last 2 seasons has been throwing for 4,000 yards, back-to-back years in Tampa, winning the division both years he's been with the team, and last season throwing 41 touchdown passes, good for the 2nd most in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns 100% deserve everything that has come back to them in regards to that trade. Cleveland fans don't. But, hey, you'll always have that one LeBron ring. Number 7, Justin Herbert, maybe the most difficult player on this list to rank. Herbert is coming off a season in which he threw 23 touchdown passes to just 3 interceptions in the full season, by far his most efficient season to date, and if anything, this should have risen his stock as a guy who routinely has been in the top 5 talks because of his raw arm talent and penchant for slinging the rock into basically football-sized windows. But another playoff stinker from him has created a problem in which you can't really put him in those conversations anymore. I mean, at this point, we're looking at, I think this is 2 or 3 of these years where he's looked great all season, and yeah, a lot of the Chargers were having issues in the playoffs against Houston. But, I mean, this is yet another Justin Herbert playoff collapse. I mean, he's still young, so for right now, I'm landing him right here as far as quarterbacks you'd like to kind of begin your franchise with at the helm. He has a long career ahead of him and could certainly shake this playoff jitters as he matures as a player, kind of like a young Peyton Manning once managed to do. But for now, he sits behind 6 of his contemporaries as a result of his regular season expertise seemingly being erased the moment a playoff graphic is painted on the field, and the weight of the moment keeps seeming to get to him. Still, while throwing for his fewest yards per game of any year of his career, he still managed to post his highest yards per throw. And, of course, we already mentioned that touchdown-interception ratio, and, again, my word. But you just can't drop him too much further than this, but I also can't put him any higher than this after another one of those playoff losses for Justin Herbert, who comes in at number 7. At number 6, Matthew Stafford. Basically what would happen if Justin Herbert could simply play the same in the playoffs as he does normally. Matt Stafford, generally speaking, is slightly less careful with the ball than Herbert is, but apart from that, the two of them are remarkably similar players in many ways. I've argued that for so many years. What puts Stafford one spot higher is that he's pretty much already hit that professional maturity where he feels significantly more comfortable in tense situations than it feels like Herbert does at this moment. Stafford has been a very good playoff performer for years now, but has been much more able to showcase it since joining LA in 2021. That first year, of course, resulting in the Super Bowl win for the ex-Detroit Lion. Insanely strong arm, great pocket presence, a skill for rising when the game situation calls for it in the fourth quarter in big games. One of the best defensive manipulators in the game. He uses his head and his eyes to get the defense to do what he really wants so that that window can open up for him. Even at 37, by far the oldest player on this list, Stafford continues to be one of the best in the game year in and year out, but he misses out on the top 5 by a spot thanks to a big push by another up-and-coming big game riser. One could even say a tush push from number 5 on this list. Yes, he made the list. Yes, he's in the top 5. Jalen Hurts, number 5. Listen. Do not backtalk me on this one. Yes, A.J. Brown is on the team. Yes, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert make for incredible secondary options. Yes, they have the best offensive line in football. And yes, Saquon Barkley helped with a lot of those wins this year. I'm not blind. I know what I saw from Jalen Hurts during the regular season, and it did seem at times that maybe he would be the thing that would hold them back come the playoffs, if anything was going to. But then the playoffs actually started, and I watched Jalen Hurts show us the same thing he did in 2022 when he came up just short of that ultimate goal that he hit this year. He has it. The mysterious X factor that exists in sports that some guys just have, but you can't really exactly explain other than they just do. They have that ability to play their best ball when their team absolutely needs them to. The more desperate their team is for them to come through, the more likely they are to do it. And Jalen Hurts has twice now been questioned going into a postseason in which he put together a run where his very talented roster was credited with carrying him that far, and twice he ended up with a magical run through the postseason that shot him into the top 5 of this list. 10 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions in his playoff career, including 5-1 just this year, plus 10 more rushing touchdowns. I mean, you're talking 20 touchdowns to just 4 turnovers in his very young playoff career. And again, 5 of those, both passing and then 5 more rushing, were just this year. It's no longer deniable that Jalen Hurts saves his best for the brightest lights. This playoff run, which culminated in maybe the greatest redemption arc in NFL history, turned him into the first quarterback that has ever lost a Super Bowl to another quarterback and then won the rematch in their next Super Bowl. It's never happened before. Every previous time the first Super Bowl winning quarterback won the rematch, Jalen Hurts came through. Eagles fans want to argue him even higher, it feels like. Hurts haters want him off the list entirely. But as is usually the case, the reality pretty much lies somewhere in the happy little middle. Jalen Hurts will continue to have his doubters and his haters so long as the Eagles continue to be an intelligently and competently run organization that surrounds him with adequate talent, which they should, but I won't be among them. He makes my top 5, and if he continues to showcase this killer instinct in big games, I think he's just going to continue to rise as the years go on. Coming in just shy of the podium at number 4, it's the reigning 2-time NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson. He has a very strong case to be even higher on the list. He's arguably the greatest runner of the football of any quarterback that has ever played the position, but unlike most of his contemporaries in that category, he also is one of the most elite pure passers in the game today, making him truly one of the greatest magicians under center we have ever seen in the sport. Coming off maybe his best year to date, and somehow it wasn't even one of his MVP seasons, Jackson would maybe even be number 1 on this list if we only took regular season acumen into consideration, as he's almost untouchable weeks 1 through 18 of any given year, and impossibly he might somehow be getting better with each passing season. But alas, another multi-turnover game in the playoffs, leading to the Ravens' elimination, keeps him from rising any higher, at least to me, on this list, as it has become something of a theme for the young phenom through each of his trips to the playoffs. His play has actually been getting steadily better, and we can all hope, unless we are an AFC North rival fan, that the big playoff breakthrough is just over the horizon for Lamar. But for right now, so long as those keep coming up, and so long as each and every time the Ravens get eliminated, Lamar has multiple turnovers in those elimination games, he has to sit at the very end of the vaunted Big Four on this list. Up next, in the bronze position, and it hurts my heart, Joe Burrow, number 1 in my heart, but number 3 on my list. For my money, the most accurate, pure thrower of the football in the NFL. He took the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl in his second year at the helm of the franchise. That's 4 years behind us now, but Burrow has continued to grow with each year as a passer, with his best season coming this last season in 2024, leading the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns while limiting himself to just 9 interceptions compared to the aforementioned 43 league-leading touchdown passes. I mean, unreal. The Bengals' defense has unfortunately gotten worse and worse with each year since the magical Super Bowl run in 2021, which has kept the entire NFL fan base from getting to witness more Joe Burrow magic in playoff games, where he has averaged 261 yards per game through 7 career playoff games, an insane 84.5 completion percentage, and 9 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions in the postseason. There is no more dangerous tight window passer in the game today. There is no more dangerous third down passer taking snaps in the NFL in 2025. And also, he can be reliably counted upon to save his best games of the season for the brightest lights and the biggest matchups. Head-to-head, you can always count on a big-time Joe Burrow performance, especially if you're a fantasy player, in those duels against Mahomes, against Lamar Jackson, and of course, against number 2, Josh Allen. The alien, as Tony Romo so favorably likes to describe the ex-Wyoming product. To put it simply, Josh Allen can just do things on the football field that no other human being walking the face of the earth is even physically capable of doing, and is, of course, the reigning NFL MVP. For a guy whose playoff legacy has somehow been turned into can't beat Patrick Mahomes, the Robin to Patrick Mahomes Batman in the NFL, he is simultaneously somehow also maybe the greatest playoff performer of all time at the quarterback position, and yet he's never even made a Super Bowl game, thanks in large part to his defense giving up a field goal lead with 13 seconds, then not getting a stop in overtime, thanks to a missed field goal, thanks to multiple key drops in the same game with the missed field goal, and then somehow the very next year, another massive key drop from a normally reliable receiver. But none of this should take away from what Josh Allen has been able to accomplish when his team has needed him the most. A career playoff touchdown interception ratio of 25-4, plus 7 more rushing touchdowns. I mean, do the math yourself. 32-4. Playoff touchdown to interception ratio in total. That is insane. And you can also add on top of that, he does have a playoff receiving touchdown as well. With a bit of better luck, we might be talking about the quarterback that led the dynasty of this decade up in upstate New York. Alas, there is a thorn in his side that has routinely proven to be this superhuman alien's kryptonite, and that would be, number 1, It's Patrick Mahomes, isn't it? Despite what we last saw from the Chiefs offense in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia, I don't really feel particularly strongly that I have to defend this choice with too much effort or vigor. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's won 2 MVP awards, he's won 3 Super Bowls, he's won 5 AFC championship games, and the 2 seasons he didn't win the Lamar Hunt Trophy, he was still in the championship game for his conference. Some of that is, of course, up to being on a team with a Hall of Fame coach and a top 5 defensive coordinator. He's had stellar teammates around him. But Mahomes' control of the game, his ability to rise when the moment needs him most, and his playmaking ability are the peak of the industry across all fronts. He's the face of the current dynasty of the league. He's the face of the league itself. He's a playoff riser who manages to rise from an already ridiculous base level of play in the regular season, and he makes the players around him better with his presence and preparation. As adept mentally as he is physically to play this position, there should be no controversy in his placement at the top of this list. At least until Caleb Williams comes for his spot in the next 5 years. So that wraps up the first edition of Tuesday Top 10s. Thank you all for watching and listening. What do you guys think of the rankings down below? What are your guys' top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today? Let me hear it in the comment section. And what would you guys like to see ranked in the future? Let me know all that down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Stay safe out there.